my mind is made up.
Hey guys, this is Eric Kyle, publisher of Latitudes and Attitudes magazine.
And I'm David Levesque, editor of Latitudes and Attitudes, and welcome to Three Sheets, our podcast where we chill and chat with individuals making a difference in the cruising lifestyle.
Each episode, we'll dive into all things cruising related and bring you some of the most influential characters out there. So sit back, grab your favorite bottle, light them if you got them, and enjoy the adventure. Hey guys, Eric Kyle here, publisher of Latitudes and Attitudes magazine, and I'm here joined today with David Levesque, editor of Latitudes and Attitudes, and together we make up Three Sheets Podcast. Glad to have you guys here today. We got a really special podcast for you today. We're actually going to be joined by Steve Palmer and Bo with Crab Sailing. And David, why don't you give us a little bit of an introduction to these gentlemen?
Yeah, so Crab stands for Chesapeake Region Accessible Boating. And we've been pretty familiar with these guys for a while. We do the Annapolis Boat Show every year, the sailboat show, and we see their booth around. And a while ago, one of your people, Carrie, right, had reached out to us about possibly doing a partnership with you guys. And I mean, it's a real easy one for us to partner with organizations like yours. But we asked her, I mean, how can we do this? How can we partner? We're happy to help promote through the pages of Lats and Ats and our social media, any of our other channels, what Crab is up to and what you guys are down with, and also the Crab Cup, which we'll get into a little bit later. The Skipper's Challenge, we can talk about that. So then Carrie gave way to Bridget, right? Bridget Mulholland is your marketing coordinator now?
That's right. As soon as Carrie booked this gig, she quit.
Ah, well, okay. Let's not discuss that.
Could be a lawsuit.
Bridget seems like she's sticking for the time being.
Yes.
And she put her foot on our throat pretty hardcore. She's like, hey, get a podcast going with these dudes because your podcast rocks and we want them on there. So thank you, Bridget. Thank you, Bo. Thank you, Steve, for joining us.
Super. Great to be here, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what? I'd like to just kind of maybe get an overview about what Crab is from you guys so you can tell all of our listeners and the viewers about what your organization represents.
Sure. Crabs, as was stated earlier, is Chesapeake Region Accessible Boating. We were founded in 1991 by Don Backey, and Don was paralyzed in a car accident in his 50s, and he'd been an avid sailor before his accident. And like a lot of people that sometimes become paralyzed late in life, he became depressed about his situation, and his friends knew that he liked to sail, so they hefted this big guy up and got him on a sailboat and got him out on the bay. And he came back in and said, that was the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. Now I've got to bring this feeling to others. And he got 4 sailboats donated to Crab, which were the Freedom 20s, Independence Freedom 20s. And they used those boats, or actually we used them for 32 years sailing at Crab. And before we reloaded with Beneteau First 22s, and as soon as we bought those, they quit making those. So we have been told they'll make more if we need them. But from those humble beginnings, Crab in 2017, as I said, got the new boats. And then we decided we needed a new place to continue to grow our organization. We've been operating from a state park and a fixed floating dock there for, as I said, 32 years. So we went out and looked around Annapolis and the whole area for a marina and someplace to move to. And we found an old marina here in Annapolis on Back Creek and the south side of Annapolis for those that come by water. And right across the waterway here is Eastport. And we got a marina, and we got the governor to donate $1 million to Crab for this program. Got the county executive to put in 1.3 million. The city put in $500,000, and the Department of Natural Resources put in about $250,000. And with that money, Crab used it as a foundation for raising $3.4 million from private donors to build what is now the premier adaptive boating center in the entire country. So We have a 2,600 square foot building, a big pavilion, and then a boathouse with restrooms in it, floating docks 8 feet wide for two wheelchairs to be able to pass. But our facility is 100% accessible and 100% sustainable. We have solar panels on the roof, generates all the power we need. We have bioretention ponds. Even the motors on our boats are propane powered motors, which emit 30% less emissions than a standard gasoline engine. So we've really gone all in on creating an environment here for our guests with disabilities, wounded warriors, and children from underserved communities to come and see a really spectacular place.
I'm listening to this real quick, and I just, I realize that accessibility is in the acronym for CRAB, right? But it's not just accessibility for disabilities accessibility. We're talking about just making it accessible, like you talked about, underserved communities. I mean, I live up here in Buffalo, New York. We're on Lake Erie, and then we got Lake Ontario to the north of us. You'd be surprised how many people in the city of Buffalo, children, youth, have no idea we live on two of the Great Lakes right now, and they've never been on the water before. So I applaud what you're doing because there's so many people that need that therapy, whether they're dealing with accessibility issues and handicaps or whether they just have never been on the water before.
That's true. Steve, you want to jump in here and tell them what you've seen here at Crab as one of our volunteer skippers?
Yeah, I mean, I shadow your comment. I mean, I come from the coast in England, and it's the same principle there as people have never been on the water. And serving, like last year when the kids camp came in with Anne Arundel Police Department, the kids' faces just to be on the water was quite amazing. And it's the same with people that have disabilities. Then often they're shoved into programs and groups that um aren't necessarily belittling, but them getting them out on the water is a totally different aspect to like doing arts and crafts or music or therapy. But it's a totally different dynamic for them, and it's great, and it's great to see people like come in, they're very shy and don't know what to do, and then they come off the water and they're saying, I definitely want to come back. When can I come back? And like, can I go out by myself sometimes? And you're like, well, baby steps first. But it's great organization, and it serves a lot of people here in like the Anne Arundel and Maryland area, like widely, really. And I think further afield, actually, DC, people come from DC.
Well, it's interesting to me that you'd mentioned the person who founded the organization was it a car accident? He became quadriplegic?
Yes, he was.
Okay. What are the types of disabilities do you guys serve in this community of sailors, or is it a specific time? Are the boats rigged only for people who are in wheelchairs, or how does that work?
We serve, I think it was about 40 to 50 different disabilities. So blind, deaf, MS, muscular dystrophy, paralysis, quadriplegia, autism, Down syndrome, the entire gamut of developmental disabilities and physical. So, yes, I mean, you alluded to our boats being adapted for guests with any disability. The others may not necessarily have a physical disability, so they could get on any kind of sailboat.
Mhm.
But we have to prepare ours for people who have the most severe disabilities. And so the boat is one piece of it, but the bigger piece is having the equipment to board someone onto the boat. So we have transfer slides and Hoyer lifts to take someone out of their chair and place them in what we have our racing car bucket seats with 4-point harness belts.
Mhm.
So we, in fact, we had a story where we had a child that had a degenerative muscle disease, and he was on a ventilator, and his young parents brought him here. He was in fourth grade at the time last year, and we put him in the seat, and they went out sailing and came back, and we said, how was it? And usually guests are telling us how great it was, and they said, well, the seat really wasn't comfortable for him. And we're like, okay, what was the deal? And they said, well, it was too hard, it was too erect, too this or that. And I went, okay, I said, let me think about that and we'll work up something. So in one of my 3 a.m. meetings that I have on crab that I regularly wake up to, I came up with the idea of let's get a bean bag and put that down in the cockpit, and then we'll lift the guests up and place them on the bean bag so he can get in any shape, angle that he wanted. And his mother was there right by his head, and he had his ventilator hooked up as well. And they went out sailing and they came back and they said, how was it? And they go, oh my God, he just loved it. It was fantastic. So, you know, you got to kind of think out of the box sometimes, even though what you have may be good for 90%, it's not good for 10% that may be disabled.
Well, let's just be clear. Beanbag chairs are good for 100% of people. I love beanbag chairs,
I'll
right?
second
He's
that.
sitting on one right now. Don't let him fool you. Steve, I got to ask you this question because, and I apologize if this, if I don't ask this correctly, but if you're dealing with modifying a vessel to make it accessible to be able to get individuals on and off the boat safely, what kind of modifications are necessary to keep them safe while they're at sea? I mean, you've got PFDs, obviously, you need to do. You need to have that kind of stuff. But is there some additional safety measures that have to be put in place?
So like Bo said, we have chairs with 4-point harness on, and some guests that lack core stability or feeling safe, we can strap them in, and it's almost like a giant car seat. And then that goes on the PFD, sorry, with a quick release. I mean, not that the boats will tip over or anything, and there is like we have foam blocks as well. So if they're a little bit short in stature or they're just too short for a child, we can put blocks under their feet. And it's more about assessing a need rather than having to strap people in all the time. Some people are very comfortable with just the lap belt on. Some people want the 4-point harness on. The other week, I actually used our safety box because the foam blocks wasn't big enough and they stood on that in the seat. Well, not stood on it, sat on it with their feet. And I just made sure that didn't go anywhere out the back of the boat or anything. But there's the adaptations on these boats are, while they're quite minimalist, they cover everything. They cover a lot of, like, cover a huge spectrum of like developmental issues where people want to be strapped in because they feel safe, or a physical limitability where they want to feel like they don't have control, so they move side to side. But like Bo said, putting a beanbag is just thinking out the box, and a lot of adaptive sailing is how can we make this work for a certain client or a certain guest, really. It's not always about the specific changes to the boat, really.
I have a
The thing
quick,
I like,
if you don't mind, David, just to throw this out there. Sailing is an addiction. Let's just call it what it is. You get on a sailboat. The first time I went, it was absolute an addiction. The second time I went, I wanted to know how fast I could go. That led to wanting to race. So when you guys are out there and you're enjoying sailing, do a lot of these participants get interested in not just going again, but hey, how fast can we go? How much of a thrill can I get out of this? Can I even race with you guys? Do you guys do any racing? How does that work out for you?
Well, Steve just came back from the Robbie Pierce regatta up at Larchmont Yacht Club, just north of New Rochelle, New York. And we raced Ideal 18s up there. But we have our own regatta here at Crab, the Don Backey Memorial Regatta, go figure. And our guys compete against each other, and they're very, very competitive. We say competitive to that last inch of gel coat. Don't hit the gel coat. And so, yeah, we've got some phenomenal pictures that we're going to send you, and you can flash those up on the screen at this time. But we also have a Crab Cup where last year 100 sailboats were in the race. And it's a pursuit race, so all the boats are rated. So we just happened to give the race committee the right amount of money to rate us the slowest. So we start the race first, and they chase us down like cowboys and Indians on the race course. And one year the wind just happened to be 12 miles an hour from the right direction. And our guys in a boat with a gentleman, he was a former admiral, had a stroke and was paralyzed on half of his body. And but he was a Naval Academy All-American sailor, and his crew were All-American sailors. And they took that boat and won by 200 feet after 7 miles and beat
Wow.
all the other boats. It was absolutely amazing. So, yeah, they liked to race. When we were in Larchmont, they had 16 boats, and there were about 6 people from Canada
Yeah.
who came down to sail as well. And then the rest were from all the New York area. Steve, you can tell them what, I mean, you're a cruiser, but you're a racer too.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guests like to come, and certainly there's a guest, and obviously no names, but like he's been coming, what, 30 years? He loves racing and going fast. And if you get him on a day when it's no wind or it's like just enough to get going, he's like, whoa. He's like, you can tell he's frustrated and he wants to go quick all the time, this guy. And yeah, a lot of the guests come, and some are returning guests, so they come and they're like, oh, it was much better like last week when it was windy. And you just, there's 4 knots of wind out there and you're trying to do your best to find wind for them. But yeah, so I think it's the same thrill for everyone. It's sometimes it's the speed. Some people just like the bobbing around, but it's
Yeah.
definitely, I agree what you're saying there about it's definitely an adrenaline thing and a thing that people get hooked to. And I mean, yeah, we've got the Crab Cup as well. I'm sure we'll come on to later, but I mean, and the recovering wounded warriors regatta.
Yeah.
And they like to race as well. The Wounded Warriors guys and girls, I mean, they must go back into their service days where everything was competitive, and they get on the boat and they're like, "I'm going to beat you," and there's some trash talk going on, and it's all quite a good fun. And then we come in, and everyone talks about it afterwards, like any normal race meet, and it's a really a level playing field. I mean, there's able-bodied people, or more able-bodied people, there's crew and skippers and helping out, and everyone's just the same thing when they come off the water. It's the same talk, it's the same sailing karate, it's
They have PTSD as well. Some do, and in September we do this regatta with the U.S. Naval Academy sailing team, and they bring over Colgate 26s and 2 midshipmen on each boat. And so we're putting warriors on their boats. And again, I relate this as you have warriors who've given more than most, and then you have the next generation of military leadership coming up and mixing and mingling and talking and teaching them how to sail based on what the junior offshore sailing team has earned at the Naval Academy.
That has to be a tremendous honor for the midshipmen to spend that kind of time with the wounded warriors like that. I mean, where I come from, we've got a few people that have put together some veteran sailing programs and things like that. And I know that there's a big organization on Long Island that we actually did a story on several issues ago, similar to that. So I applaud you for doing anything like that. You started to touch on the events. I was looking at your events page here because you've got several different types of events. You've got some fishing events in here, group fishing, family sales. You got a kids camp in here. There's a bunch of different things. Military sailing day. I wanted to touch a little bit on the Crab Cup. That's one of the things that when we started forming our partnership with your organization about we're promoting crab sailing, but we're also promoting the upcoming Crab Cup. So is that different than the Skipper's Challenge, or is that pretty much the same thing?
Well, the Prep Cup is the race and the party. The Skipper's Challenge is a competition among skippers and basically anyone who
Okay.
wants to put together a team to compete for raising the most money for the event, for the Crab Cup. So people contact their family, their friends, their business associates, and work with them to raise funds and move up on the list of people who are competing against each other. And the top five we select based on what they've raised, and they get a Helly Hansen jacket, an engraved set of highball glasses to drink. They get a Crab Cup hat with top fundraiser on the back of it as well. And then they get recognized in front of 600 people at the shore party after the race. So we have sponsorship, Skipper's Challenge, and those are two of the big areas that make this event our largest fundraiser of the year. So,
How
100 sailboats, 600 guests coming to the shore party, two bands, the whole, what could go, be any better than that?
apart from when it rains.
I gotta imagine that this is seen by the community as a necessary and very successful organization. Is this replicable in other communities? Are you aware of other communities that are doing similar types of work?
Well, if you go on the Crab website, we try to be the library of organizations out there. So there's about 45 around North America that provide adaptive sailing. Now, the vast majority of them are community boating organizations that they'll allocate 10, 20, 30% of their sailing to people with disabilities, which is fine. But there's probably about five of us that are 100% and strictly adaptive. We're not a community sailing program. Um, we've got the Annapolis Sailing School right next door to us. We have the J World across from the creek from us. So there's a lot of boating clubs and other entities that offer boats for able-bodied people, but we're set up to be 100% adaptive.
I look at your website and just how to get involved. I know we're getting involved as an organization by sponsoring and helping you guys get the word out there through our channels. But I mean, you can volunteer, you can donate a boat, but it looks like you can also buy a boat. That just caught my attention as I'm sitting here because I mean, there's some pretty nice boats you have here. So how does that work? People donate a boat or you guys have a boat, you don't want it anymore, you decide to sell it?
Well, people contact us to donate their boats, and sometimes I wish they contacted us 5 years earlier, or they'd taken better care of the boat. But we end up rejecting about 85% of the boats that get offered because people don't want to work on boats anymore.
Yeah.
They want to walk on that boat and they want the wine and cheese on the boat. They they're ready to go. But if we get a good boat, like we had a CNC 30 that we sold, a gentleman was getting dementia. His daughter donated it to Crab, and he used it for racing, and it was a wonderful boat. We just picked up tomorrow. We'll pick up a Catalina 27, and we've had other boats donated of different sizes. We're supposed to have like a big catch donated to us at the end of the season. The gentleman said, my wife and I, and his wife is getting Alzheimer's. We're going to sail it one last season, and then we're going to donate it to Crab. So, and it's a big boat. That's about a 45-foot boat. Would make a really nice cruising sailboat for someone. And it's kept in mint condition. The guy was into sail making and canvas making. So all of that on the boat is in mint condition.
Well, now that you're talking about cruising, sailing, we happen to have a magazine that we're pretty proud of here at Kyle Media. It's called
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Latitudes and Attitudes.
Oh, that's a beautiful cover.
Yeah, isn't that?
That's fantastic.
So as we talk about cruising sailing, we talked a little bit about, okay, it's an addiction, let's go race. But the other part of this addiction is let's go have an adventure. Let's just take off and enjoy ourselves and go somewhere on the planet that we haven't been before. And that is something I'd like Steve to kind of address. Maybe you could tell us, Steve, a little bit about your cruising sailing background and how you got involved with this crazy organization down in the Chesapeake.
So in cruising wise, I got my RYA skipper years ago, well back in the early 2000s, and so I cruised a bit then, and then I lost my legs in 2010, and I used sailing as part of my rehab, and I did some racing and things, and then I bought a boat 5 years ago, and it's a small 31-foot sloop, and I sailed around Britain solo in 2022. I stopped, not as what like the people are doing, just finishing today and the past week, but and then I thought I can do more, and I took off around Britain again, and then I went to the Faroe Islands and then Iceland, and I sailed across the Atlantic to Newfoundland in the summer of 23, and then I kind of cruised around Canada till the winter deteriorated, and then cruised all the way down the East Coast, went to the Bahamas and part of the Caribbean, and then came back. And I thought, right, I want to give something back to sort of adaptive sailing, disabled sailing. I've been by myself quite a while. I'd like to come and volunteer. So I did some internet search and I found Crab and I looked into what they did. And like Bo said, there are numerous adaptive programs in the US, but I felt like Crab offered probably the best projects and the best thing in probably on the East Coast, definitely. I'm not sure about the West Coast because I was never going to get there, but like, and so I came back up to the Chesapeake to be here at Crab, and I live on my boat currently, and then come here when they want me. So, and I've come back for the season just because I believe in Crab's mission and Crab's the way Crab do things here and how they look at adaptive boating, not just as in it's a part of a community sail, it's like a whole thing, it's a complete package. So that's why I'm here, and that's a very nutshell of my cruising experience.
I
Well,
love it.
that's impressive.
I love it. I noticed on the website as well. I just want to make sure we touch upon this that you've also got a 40-foot power catamaran, which is Dreamcatcher. So what I'm reading is that it's used for guests in wheelchairs who do not want to leave the chair, right, to be on the boat. So it's a good thing to know as well that they have that opportunity and that option. So, I mean, what I love about your organization is you're making everything accessible, but you're making everything, inclusivity is everywhere around what you're doing. And that's huge, huge.
Well, we had five warriors who were injured, and many of them were amputees on wheelchairs just last Friday when they went out fishing and caught a bunch of perch up here and absolutely loved it. They said, we went sailing the last time, but we really like that fishing. They, they're in that chair. They never have to leave it. And they're right there getting the line wet, having a great time. And we have a fishing guide who's on the boat, and he always catches fish. And that was one of our biggest challenges, guys. It was, we all know how to drive boats, sailboats, everything else, but we didn't have any fishermen here. So we recruited him, and he's been really a phenomenal guy to work with. We also have a neighborhood group that they're experts in radio controlled sailboats. And so we added radio controlled sailboats, and they're the Dragon Boat 65s that we have. And we have a fleet of 6 of them. And we have an 80-foot T head here, and we bring our guests out in chairs or bring out chairs, and the kids get on there, and they're like a PlayStation, and they sail those boats around the marks right in front of our marina. It really works out well for them.
So if we wanted to learn more about what you guys are doing there, or how to get involved with what you guys are doing there, or maybe donate some resources or time, or find out more, where are we going to go? What are we going to do?
Well, we tried to make our website one of the best that you could go to and answer all those questions, and it's at crabsailing.org. And there is a button at the top to volunteer. There is a button to donate a boat. There's really a button to learn about anything about crab. And I'd say our greatest resource, who we haven't touched on, other than having Steve here, is that we have 150 volunteers who go through training to become crab certified, either skippers, crew, dock support staff. It doesn't matter. They all have to go through the training. And that's because, say for our skippers, we only bring skippers on board who have a lot of experience, a lot, because we're not teaching you how to be a skipper. We're teaching you how to be a skipper with someone with disabilities on your boat, and how you react, and how you stay engaged, and how you make sure everything is safe, and how you keep them entertained and happy, and teaching them how to sail, because we don't take our guests for rides. Number one, they never thought they were going to get on a boat. We get them on the boat. Number two, they never ever thought they were going to sail a boat. We're putting that tiller or the tiller extension in their hand, and they are sailing the boat when they're with Crab. So they come back, and I mean, they're just elated. And Steve, I mean, he's there firsthand to see it, and they're just saying that's the greatest experience I've ever had in my life. That was phenomenal. It was like vacation. I want to buy a boat. I'm coming out again next week, or just on and on. And it just goes to show you guys that they, just because they have a disability, they're no different than us. They love sailing and being on the water. Steve?
I agree. Yeah, they light up. We have certain guests that are non-verbal, and they arrive and they make noises on the boat, and their aide or their carer are like, well, they don't make any noises at home, or they don't. And it's a real change to see people in something. And there's a lot to be said about the whole blue effect of the sea, oceans, and lake rivers, and etc. And so, but I mean, like David said, it's about accessibility as well. I mean, you took a 99-year-old veteran out on the catamaran.
No, he was 103.
Oh, 103, sorry. And, I think he could walk, but it's still about having that level platform that this guy could just cross onto. And I mean, we all know a lot of the yachting community is a little bit older, and accessibility for everyone is key nowadays, I feel. And here at the center as well, where everything's easy accessible and the boats are easy to get onto, I think it just adds to Crab's presence, and not just about disabled sailing, about inclusivity as well.
So what is your Crab Cup is held in August, right? What's the date?
August 16th. And it's hosted by the Eastport Yacht Club.
Okay. Yeah, I see here that a party's held at the Eastport Yacht Club. I've been to a few parties at the Eastport Yacht Club. Some I remember and some I don't, but I've been there. Love the Eastport Yacht Club. The Boatyard Bar and Grills providing food. Those guys are great.
Yep.
Guys are always awesome.
The great
Jimmy
thing
Buffett,
is the band,
Jimmy,
Dave.
what's
the,
that?
The band, the Dixon Misfit Youth, he gets our guests up there on stage. And, I couldn't sing 3 verses of anything but maybe Merry Christmas or something. I don't know. But barely get through Happy Birthday. And we've got people up there with autism or Down syndrome or just belting out the songs on stage.
That's
And
amazing.
he gives them the microphone and lets them go at it. We have people on the dance floor or in wheelchairs dancing out there with people. It is full and total engagement.
What a phenomenal party, phenomenal organization. I mean, God bless you guys for doing what you're doing. It's amazing. I love it. I'm not even sure what else to ask you. I think that sums up everything right there. I mean, just to see the joy on people's faces alone is got to be all the reward you need, right?
Well, we call it a symbiotic relationship between our volunteers and our guests, because our volunteers could have gone sailing with anybody, and instead they decided to go and take people who are less able-bodied and take them and teach them their love of sailing. And they get a big hug and a kiss and are told, you made my life wonderful today. And they will tell you that they get as much out of it as our guests get.
So it's a wonderful organization, guys. I want to thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. I think you said that the website is crabsailing.org.
That's correct.
Yep, O-R-G.
And if anybody has any questions, cruisers anywhere in the world, about what we do, how we do it, please go to our website, check it out. And if you have a question, we can answer it in American or in English, and we'd be happy to get that response back to you.
That took
I
me a
think
second
Steve
to
said he
figure
was
that
going to
out.
work on that funny accent at some point, just Americanize it a little bit.
Yeah, I would like to
Just
make
one last
question.
real quick question, guys. How many people have gone through your program?
Last year we hosted 1,800. And the 2 years before that, 1,200 each year, and we're expecting 2,000 this year.
It's phenomenal.
This moves the needle, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate all that you're doing, and I know the cruising community does as well. We look forward to seeing you at the Annapolis show coming this fall.
Fantastic. Thank you, David and Kyle.
Peace, guys. That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Outstanding.
My mind is made up. I'm gonna sail away. Latitudes and attitudes will help me find my way with my loving cup. A little salt and a